Hey y'all, it's Kate from LoveStory, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have our monthly wrap-up for October, a little check-in on some current reads, and a TBR list for November. So happy November, it's November 1st, we got through October and on to November, election month, Thanksgiving month if you're in the US, or just another month if you're not in the US. So I've got a couple stats for October. I thought maybe it'd be fun. I actually read more books than I thought, so I started gathering these stacks and then realized, oh, I kind of read more than I thought I did. So that is something that's fun to discover. But anyways, I actually ended up finishing 10 books this month. 2 digital books, 5 physical books, and 3 audiobooks. 2 books I DNF'd. I read a total of 2,919 pages, not counting the DNFs or the audiobooks. My favorite book I read this month, I think, was Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. It was just such an amazing read, amazing writing. Delia Owens, the story was great, the characters were great. I loved how she was able to integrate nature writing into this story effortlessly. You didn't even realize it at a lot of times. Highly recommend Where the Crawdads Sing. As you can tell, I gave that 5 stars. And the most surprising book I read was actually Bleak by Charles Dickens, and I'll be doing a review of that either today or tomorrow, because I just finished that yesterday. But this book was like a roller coaster ride for me. I went through so many different thoughts reading this book, not knowing what the story was, who the main characters really were, what my rating was going to be at the end. I went from 4 stars to 3.5 stars to 3 stars to possible 2 stars, and then built my way back up towards the end, and the end was just so unexpected and so great. And Dickens, his writing is masterful. His descriptions just bring you right there, and his characters are so hilariously fantastic. There's no one like him. So that was Bleak House, my most surprising read in October. And if you're in for a long read with a lot of description, I highly recommend it. If you're used to Dickens and haven't read Bleak House yet, definitely read it. But if you're more of a short book person and you don't like all the descriptions, then it might not be for you. But I gave it 4 stars. So speaking of stars, I gave 4 books 5 stars, 4 books 4 stars, 1 book 3 stars, and 1 book 1 star, which, let's be honest, should have been a DNF. And like I said, 2 DNFs. And 2 stars is kind of like that Nomad's Land rating for me. I don't really know what to give a 2 star. Maybe I'll get there one day, but those are the rankings of the books that I finished this month. And now I'm just going to very quickly go through all the books I read and give them my rankings, and then we'll get on to some more details. So the first book is actually a library school textbook, and I put it on here because it took up so much of my reading time. And so it deserves to be on this list. And the title was Management Basics for Information Professionals, and I gave that 4 stars. The Book of Lost Fragrances by M.J. Rose, 4 stars. Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood, 3 stars. Bleak House by Charles Dickens, 4 stars. The Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger, 1 star, but let's be honest, it should have been a DNF. And The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman, 5 stars. Revenge Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger, DNF. The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom, 5 stars. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, 5 stars. The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman, 4 stars. Sometimes a Great Notion by Kesey, also DNF. White Rage, The Unspoken Truth of Our Racial Divide by Carol Anderson, 5 stars, and probably the most important book I've read in October. That should also be a category. Remind me to add that for November.
And Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, DNF. Oh, so actually there was 3 DNFs and not 2, so that needs to be corrected, but I'll change that later. So now on to my current reads. So currently, if you've seen my other videos, you know that I'm currently reading Atomic Habits, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results by James Clear, which is a self-help book based on building small good habits to get rid of bad ones and changing who you are instead of just what you do. I'm really enjoying that one so far. A Passage to India by E.M. Forster, and this is a bibliotherapy book for part of the 10 best escapist novels, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I only just started it this morning, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a reread, and if you look in my book, let me find a good spot. You can see my past notes from the first time I read it. It's got notes and underlines everywhere in it, and annotations. It's really fun to watch to see what I thought of it before. So that's A Passage to India by E.M. Forster. And then next is Still Making My Way Through Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. Still a really great read. Like I said, this just came out towards the end of October. Gothic horror, highly recommend it if you like that kind of thing. And also different formats. If you're into different formats and different genres, I highly recommend Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. And the last book I'm currently reading right now is Mistborn: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. As you know, I'm trying to get into more fantasy, and I've heard such great things about Brandon Sanderson that I thought I would just jump right in. So those are my current reads. Now on to the November TBRs, and I'm not going to say a lot about these because there's so many, and as you've seen, if you've seen my other TBR videos, you'll know that I probably won't get to all of these, but I'm hopeful, and I'm trying to read at least one more book in each of my TBR stacks than I did in the previous month, so this will add actually one additional to that thought, but we'll see how far I get in this stack. So on top of the current reads that I'm reading right now, the ebooks that I'm hoping to get to is Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Wong, and this is a bibliotherapy book for nausea. Call Me By Your Name by Andre Acumen, which is also a bibliotherapy book for part of the 10 best breakup novels. And yes, I know I will need tissues for that book. I'm already prepared for that. And also Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood, which is also a bibliotherapy book for being bullied. So lots of bibliotherapy books this month in November. Speaking of bibliotherapy books, let's go over to my bibliotherapy stack. And the 3 books on from that stack we're actually in the opposite order than we need to be, so I'm going to rearrange those. A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce, jumping back into the James Joyce world. Pray for me because you know how his writing can be sometimes. But I've read this book before and I know it wasn't as bad as Ulysses was getting through, so hopefully this will be better. And this is, you're gonna laugh at this, for the Novel Cure recommends this book for a stubbed toe, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I have to stub my toe before or after to get it, but we'll see. The next book on the bibliotherapy stack is Across the River and Into the Trees by Ernest Hemingway, and this is actually one of few Hemingway books that I haven't read yet, so I'm really excited to get into this book. I went through a huge Hemingway kick back in grad school when I had a professor that specialized in the Lost Generation, so I read most of Hemingway's books, all of his classics. Farewell to Arms, Sun Also Rises, A Movable Feast, For Whom the Bell Tolls, all of the classics. So I'm excited to get into this, and this is recommended for as part of the 10 best novels for 80-somethings. I'm not sure what these lists actually mean, but I'm excited to read it nonetheless. And the last book on my bibliotherapy stack is another classic, and I love it so much, Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery, and I just love this edition. It's so pretty and it's so fall-like, so it's perfect for November.
we all love Anne, and I love the TV show, and I am so excited that they actually brought it back and renewed it, because I thought that portrayal of Anne of Green Gables is so fantastic. And so Anne of Green Gables is recommended as part of the 10 best novels to drown out snoring, and I can't wait to reread that. That's another reread for me. Now onto my personal. Now, if you've seen my what was it, the bookshelf tour video, which I'll link here in the descriptions and up above in the cards, the next two stacks I kind of interchange with each other. Once I'm done with one, I go to the next stack and go back and forth. So our next stack is from my personal books that I want to keep, and these are also in the wrong order, so let me just switch these really quickly. And these really, the only order that these go in is alphabetical by title. That's it. So all of these books are alphabetical by title. That's all. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So the first book on this stack is Betty Zane by Zane Grey. Don't be confused. This is was one of my grandfather's books, and I have 3 more Betty Zane Grey books, and I can't wait to start reading these because these are classic westerns. And as you can see on the sticky note, this was published in 1903, so I can't wait for that classic. The next book was from his books that he saved from forestry school, and this one really surprised me, but it gives you a little bit into his mind frame then. It's called Making Our Lives Work, Strategies to Lessen Stress and Build Self-Esteem by Shirley A. Mahood. And I think this will be a really great read for me because I tend to have low self-esteem and a lot of stress and anxiety, and so I think this will be a good book, strangely random for me. And then the last pile on that stack is actually one of my grandmother's books, and that's the classic Schindler's List by Thomas Keneally. I definitely know I'll need tissues for that. It's a hard read, but I've seen the movie and it was hard to get through, but ever since I've seen the movie, I've been dying to read the book, so I can't wait to read this book. And I love it because it still has my grandma's address sticker on it. She always marked her own books. You can't really see that very well, but it just is a little like hello from my grandma. And so then the next stack is our last stack of books for our TBR list, and that comes from my bookshelf stack, or my bookshop stack. So as you all know, I have the online bookstore, The Literary Apothecary, where I sell used books, mostly ebooks, audiobooks, and a lot of resources for bibliotherapy. And because I have all the books at my home, I've separated them into books that I've read and books that I still want to read. And so this next stack comes from to read from my bookshop stack, not to be confused at all with all these stacks. Somehow I keep them all in line in my head. It's crazy. But so the first book on that is A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain. I can't wait for some humor because it's definitely needed this year, and I'm very excited to read this book. It's been on my list forever, and it's one of those beautiful Reader's Digest, just like Anne of Green Gables. I love these books. They just look nice. So that was A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. The next book, some of you are Kurt Vonnegut fans will be excited about this, A Man Without a Country, and that cover just makes me laugh. I don't know why, but it just makes me laugh. And then the last book on our TBR list is another classic, All the President's Men by Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, and this is the one and only book about Watergate and President Nixon's resignation, as it says in the front. And I can't wait to read this book. I've been wanting to read it for so long. I am so excited. So that was my October wrap-up, a little bit about my current readings, and my very long November TBR. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them in the comments. Let me know what other videos you want me to do. I'll be having some more tags coming up, and more reviews as I finish books, obviously. Let me know if you like this format of combining the videos. I'm trying to figure out what's best for my videos on YouTube, and I welcome any and all advice, so let me know what you thought of this compared to separating the monthly wrap-up and the TBRs. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell all your friends. I've made some really amazing friends on Discord with the Shelf Space server and the Shelf Space folks, so I will link that in the description. Also, come and join us for lots of book discussions because it's so much fun, a great fun. But that's it for now. That's a lot, I know. I am so excited to get back to reading, and happy November. And if you are taking part in the NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month, happy NaNoWriMo. Good luck. I can't wait to read your books when they come out. If you need proofreaders, let me know. I love editing and proofreading. It's one of my passions. So that's it for now. Happy Sunday, happy November. We'll see you all soon. Bye.